In 1993, three 8-year-old boys, Stevie Branch, Michael Moore, and Christopher Byers, were found murdered in West Memphis, Arkansas. Teenagers Damian Echols, Jason Baldwin, and Jesse Miskelly Jr., known as the West Memphis Three, were quickly suspected due to their interest in heavy metal music and occultism. Despite weak evidence and a coerced confession from Miskelly, all three were convicted in 1994. Echols received a death sentence, while Baldwin and Miskelly got life imprisonment. After years of legal battles and new DNA evidence, they were released in 2011 under an Alford plea, maintaining their innocence while acknowledging sufficient evidence for a conviction. The case remains officially unsolved, sparking ongoing debate and calls for justice. In 2004, 21-year-old nursing student Maura Murray vanished after a car accident on a rural road in Haverhill, New Hampshire. On February 9th, she emailed her professors about a family emergency, which didn't exist, and drove north. After crashing her car, witnesses reported seeing her, but she was gone when police arrived. Her car was found locked, with personal items inside, but no signs of a struggle. Despite extensive searches and numerous theories, including foul play, voluntary disappearance, and accident, Maura's fate remains unknown, making her case one of the most enduring and perplexing mysteries in recent history. In 1892, the quiet town of Fall River, Massachusetts, was rocked by the brutal murders of Andrew and Abby Borden in their home. Andrew Borden was found dead on the sofa, and his wife's body was discovered upstairs. The primary suspect was Andrew's daughter, Lizzie Borden, who was present in the house at the time of the murders. Despite inconsistent testimony and suspicious behavior, Lizzie was acquitted due to a lack of direct evidence. The case garnered massive public and media attention, with many theories but no definitive answers. Lizzie's acquittal left the crime unsolved, and the Borden house remains a site of fascination and speculation. The enigmatic and gruesome nature of the Borden murders continues to captivate the public, making it one of the most infamous unsolved cases in American history. In 1912, the small town of Villisca, Iowa, was horrified by the brutal axe murders of the Moore family and two house guests. On the night of June 9th, an unknown assailant entered the Moore home and killed 8 people. The killer left no fingerprints or clear motives. Despite several suspects over the years, including a traveling preacher and a state senator, no one was ever convicted. The house, now a historical site, attracts visitors and ghost hunters, but the Villisca axe murders remain one of America's most haunting and unsolved crimes. Between 1945 and 1950, 5 people vanished without a trace in the Bennington Triangle, an area in southwestern Vermont. The most famous case is that of Paula Weldon, an 18-year-old college student who disappeared in 1946 while hiking the Long Trail. Despite extensive searches, no trace of her was ever found. The other 4 victims included an experienced outdoorsman and an 8-year-old boy. Theories range from serial abduction to paranormal activity. Despite the passage of time and various investigations, the disappearances within the Bennington Triangle remain a haunting and unresolved mystery. In 1969, Betsy Aardsma, a 22-year-old graduate student at Penn State University, was brutally murdered in the university's library. The library was crowded, yet no one saw the attack or the assailant. Aardsma collapsed, and bystanders initially thought she had fainted or suffered a seizure. It wasn't until she was taken to the hospital that a stab wound was discovered. Despite extensive investigations and numerous suspects, the killer was never identified. The motive remains unknown, and the case has grown cold over the decades. Betsy Aardsma's murder remains one of Pennsylvania's most enduring and chilling unsolved mysteries. In 1996, Blair Adams, a 31-year-old Canadian, met a bizarre and tragic end in Knoxville, Tennessee. Adams had exhibited paranoid behavior in the days leading up to his death, withdrawing large sums of money and abruptly leaving his job. He traveled from Canada to the U.S., displaying increasing fear that someone was trying to kill him. On July 11th, Adams was found dead in a motel parking lot, half-dressed, with his scattered belongings, including cash, gold, and valuables, surrounding him. He had sustained fatal injuries, but the exact cause of death was unclear. Despite extensive investigations, the motives behind Adams' actions and the circumstances of his death remain unexplained, making it one of the most perplexing unsolved mysteries in recent history. In 1988, 19-year-old Tara Calico disappeared while on a bike ride near her home in Belen, New Mexico. Tara often rode the same route and had even joked with her mother about being careful of being kidnapped. On the morning of September 20th, she left for her usual ride but never returned. Her bike was never found, and witnesses reported seeing a light-colored pickup truck following her. Months later, a chilling Polaroid photograph surfaced in a Florida parking lot, depicting a young woman and a boy bound and gagged in the back of a van. The woman in the photograph bore a striking resemblance to Tara, but despite extensive analysis, it could not be definitively proven to be her. Despite various leads and theories, Tara Calico's whereabouts remain unknown. In 1989, 11-year-old Jacob Wetterling was abducted at gunpoint near his home in St. Joseph, Minnesota. Jacob, his brother, and a friend were biking back from a convenience store when a masked man forced them to lie down in a ditch. The abductor took Jacob and told the others to run and not look back. Despite an intensive search and nationwide media coverage, Jacob remained missing for 27 years. In 2016, a break in the case led to the confession of Danny Heinrich, who admitted to Jacob's kidnapping and murder and led authorities to his remains. For decades, Jacob's disappearance haunted his family and the community, becoming one of America's most heartbreaking unsolved mysteries until its tragic resolution. In the early 1980s, the murders of Franciscan priests in the U.S. baffled authorities. In 1982, Father Reynaldo Rivera was lured to assist a stranded motorist in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and was found shot to death on a remote road. 2 years later, in 1984, Father John Patrick Kerrigan disappeared in Montana. His blood-stained clothes and an iron bar were discovered by a riverbank, but his body was never found. Both cases shared similarities, suggesting a possible connection. Despite extensive investigations and numerous leads, the murderer was never identified, and the motive remains unknown. In 2009, the mysterious disappearance of the Jamison family in Oklahoma baffled investigators. Bobby and Sherilyn Jamison, along with their 6-year-old daughter Madison, were last seen alive on October 8th. Their truck was discovered abandoned on a remote dirt road in the Sans-Bois Mountains, with their belongings inside, including their wallets, IDs, mobile phones, and a substantial amount of cash. Even their pet dog was found alive but malnourished inside the vehicle. Extensive searches of the surrounding area initially yielded no results. 4 years later, in 2013, hunters stumbled upon remains of the family, about 3 miles from where their truck was found, but no cause of death could be determined. Theories about their disappearance range from foul play and drug involvement to paranormal activity, but no conclusive evidence has ever been found. In 1952, John Acropolis, a prominent labor leader and president of the United Textile Workers of America, was found murdered in Yonkers, New York. Acropolis was last seen alive on August 26th, and his body was discovered the next day in a wooded area, having been shot multiple times. His car was found abandoned nearby. Acropolis was known for his tough stance against corruption and organized crime within the labor movement, leading many to believe his murder was a mob hit. Despite extensive investigations, no suspects were charged, and the case remains unsolved. In 1966, the disappearance of the Beaumont children shocked Australia and remains one of the country's most enduring mysteries. On January 26th, siblings Jane Arna and Grant Beaumont left their home in Adelaide to visit Glenelg Beach, a trip they had taken many times before. They were last seen by several witnesses playing on the beach and later walking away with a tall, blonde man. Despite massive search efforts, extensive investigations, and numerous tips over the years, no trace of the children has ever been found. The case sparked widespread fear and speculation, with theories ranging from abduction to possible trafficking involvement. Despite the passage of time and the dedication of law enforcement, the fate of the Beaumont children remains an agonizing mystery for their family and the Australian public. In March 1998, 23-year-old Amy Lynn Bradley from Virginia went on a Caribbean cruise with her family aboard Royal Caribbean's Rhapsody of the Seas. The vacation took a tragic turn when Amy disappeared. On the night of March 23rd, she was seen socializing in the ship's nightclub. Her father saw her sleeping on their cabin balcony at 5:30 a.m. but found her missing at 6 a.m. The Bradley family reported her disappearance immediately, but the ship wasn't thoroughly searched until it docked. Despite extensive efforts, Amy was never found. Over the years, there have been multiple unconfirmed sightings of Amy in Curacao, with some suggesting she was forced into human trafficking. Despite numerous leads and investigations, Amy Lynn Bradley remains missing. I woke at 2 a.m. to Alexa softly asking,
"Can I help with something else?"
It was odd, hearing her in the quiet night. Maybe she caught some noise, shaking it off as a glitch. I went back to sleep. Sometime later, Alexa's voice said,
"Adding knife to your shopping list."
My heart raced. I unplugged her, trying to calm down. Around 1 hour later, I woke up again with Alexa saying,
"Thank you. Please let me know if I can help you with something else."
Panic set in. Alexa was plugged in again. Had I only dreamed about unplugging her, or had someone plugged her back in? The unsettling thought lingered. Who was Alexa talking to?